Imagine this, you're in a meeting, and suddenly someone throws a sharp criticism your way. Maybe it's about a project you led, a decision you made, or even a personal jab. Your gut reaction? To defend yourself immediately. You start explaining, justifying, maybe even arguing your case. But instead of gaining respect or clearing your name, something unexpected happens. The room shifts. The energy changes. You feel the power slipping away, and the attacker seems to grow stronger, more dominant. Why? Because defending yourself often signals weakness, not strength. This is a trap most men fall into without realizing it. When you defend, you're admitting that the attack has hit a nerve. You're reacting emotionally, giving your opponent control over the narrative. It's like handing them the steering wheel of the conversation and your reputation. The more you try to explain or justify, the more you appear insecure, desperate, or even guilty. And in social and professional environments where power and respect are currency, this is a costly mistake. But what if there was a way to flip this dynamic instantly? What if instead of losing power when attacked, you could seize control, unsettle your opponent, and command respect without uttering a defensive word? This is exactly the Machiavellian trick we're about to uncover. A strategy so counterintuitive, yet effective that most people never learn it, leaving them stuck in endless power struggles. By the end of this video, you'll understand why defending yourself is the biggest mistake you can make and how to use silence, strategic reframing, and psychological tactics to turn attacks into opportunities for dominance. If you want to stop losing respect and start mastering every social and professional interaction, you can't afford to miss what's coming next. The power to control any situation is closer than you think, if you're ready to stop defending and start dominating. When faced with criticism or attack, most people instinctively react with defensiveness. They launch into explanations, justifications, or even emotional outbursts, hoping to clear their name or prove their innocence. But this common reaction is exactly what undermines their position. Defensiveness signals vulnerability. It reveals that the attack has landed, that the person feels threatened. Instead of projecting strength, they broadcast insecurity. Psychologically, this is tied to what's known as the backfire effect. When someone feels cornered or challenged, their natural response is to double down on their defense, often making their position appear weaker rather than stronger. Over-explaining or arguing can come across as desperate attempts to convince others, which ironically raises doubts instead of dispelling them. People instinctively read defensiveness as a sign of guilt or weakness, even if the criticism is unfounded. Contrast this with the strategic mastery of silence and reframing. Silence is a powerful tool. It creates discomfort for the attacker and forces them to fill the void, often exposing their own weaknesses or contradictions. Reframing, on the other hand, shifts the narrative by subtly questioning the attacker's assumptions or motives without direct confrontation. Together, these tactics maintain your composure and control, making you appear confident and unshakable. Consider the story of a well-known CEO who faced harsh public criticism over a failed product launch. Instead of rushing to defend himself, he remained silent for days, allowing the media and critics to overreach and reveal their own biases. When he finally spoke, he reframed the narrative by highlighting the lessons learned and the company's future vision, turning the conversation from failure to opportunity. His calm, controlled response restored confidence among investors and employees alike. In contrast, another executive in a similar situation immediately launched into a defensive press conference, trying to justify every decision. His frantic explanations only fueled skepticism and eroded trust. The public perceived him as insecure and evasive, and his reputation suffered long-term damage. These examples highlight a crucial truth. Defending yourself often hands power to your opponent, while silence and reframing allow you to reclaim it. Understanding this psychological dynamic is the first step toward mastering social and professional influence. It's not about avoiding conflict. It's about controlling how you respond to it, and in doing so, controlling the entire interaction. Niccolò Machiavelli, the master strategist of power and influence, understood better than most the delicate dance of control and perception. In his seminal works, The Prince and Discourses, he laid bare the brutal realities of power. It is not enough to be right or just, must appear strong, decisive, and unshakable. One of his most enduring lessons is the danger of appearing weak or reactive, especially when under attack. Machiavelli warned that reacting defensively to criticism or opposition is a sign of vulnerability. When a leader rushes to justify or explain, they reveal that the attack has struck a nerve. This reaction invites further assault and erodes authority. Instead, Machiavelli advised rulers to master the art of strategic silence and ambiguity. Tools that unsettle opponents and keep them guessing. In The Prince, Machiavelli writes, "A wise ruler ought never to keep faith when by doing so it would be against his interests." While this may sound ruthless, the underlying principle is about control over perception and narrative. By refusing to engage directly with attacks, a leader denies the attacker the satisfaction of a reaction, forcing them into uncertainty. This silence is not weakness. It is a calculated move to maintain power. The trick Machiavelli champions is simple but profound. Never defend yourself outright. Instead, use silence or a subtle reframing question to shift the focus. For example, when accused or criticized, respond not with denial but with a question that forces the attacker to justify their claim or reconsider their position. This tactic creates confusion and hesitation, giving you the upper hand. Historical examples abound. Consider Cesare Borgia, Machiavelli's favorite prince, who was known for his cold, calculated responses. When faced with opposition, Borgia often remained silent or responded with ambiguous statements that left his enemies uncertain and off balance. This psychological edge allowed him to consolidate power quickly and ruthlessly. Another example is Machiavelli's advice on handling rumors and slander. Instead of defending against every whisper, a wise leader lets some accusations fade into silence, knowing that over-defending only amplifies the issue. By controlling what is said and what is left unsaid, the leader shapes public perception without appearing desperate or weak. This principle applies beyond politics. In any social or professional setting, the moment you defend yourself, you signal that the attack matters. Machiavelli's insight teaches that power lies in controlling the narrative through silence and reframing. By refusing to react predictably, you unsettle your opponent and regain control of the interaction. In essence, Machiavelli's trick is about mastering the psychological battlefield. It's not about winning every argument, but about never giving your opponent the satisfaction of a reaction. This subtle, strategic approach flips the power dynamic instantly. Turning defense into dominance. Now that you understand why defending yourself is a trap and how Machiavelli's insight guides you to strategic silence and reframing, it's time to get practical. Here are 4 powerful tactics you can use immediately to flip the power dynamic in any situation, whether in business meetings, social settings, or personal conflicts. 1. The pause and pivot technique. When someone attacks or criticizes you, your instinct might be to respond immediately. Instead, practice the pause and pivot. This means taking a deliberate, silent pause, just a few seconds. To collect your thoughts and let the tension build slightly. Silence creates discomfort for the attacker, who expects a quick rebuttal. Then, pivot the conversation by redirecting it to a different topic or a broader perspective. Example: imagine you're in a team meeting, and a colleague says, "Your last project was a disaster." Instead of rushing to defend, you pause silently for 2 seconds, maintaining calm eye contact. Then you say, I appreciate your feedback. What do you think we should focus on to improve our next steps? This shifts the focus from blame to solution, putting you in control. 2. The question flip. This tactic involves responding to an attack with a calm, strategic question that forces the attacker to justify their claim or reveal their motives. It's a subtle way to unsettle them and regain control without direct confrontation. Example: at a social event, someone says, "You're always so arrogant." Instead of defending or denying, you respond, "What makes you say that?" This question puts the burden back on them, making them explain or rethink their statement. Often, this causes them to hesitate or backtrack, giving you the upper hand. 3. The non-defensive acknowledgement. Acknowledging a statement without agreeing or defending creates ambiguity, which can be disarming. It shows you're listening but not threatened, leaving your opponent uncertain about your position. Example: in a personal argument, your partner accuses you of not caring enough. Instead of defending yourself, you say, "I hear what you're saying." This simple acknowledgement neither confirms nor denies the accusation, but it signals calm and control. The lack of a defensive reaction often diffuses tension and shifts the emotional tone. 4. Using body language to project calm dominance. Your physical presence speaks louder than words. When attacked, maintain an open posture, shoulders back, chest slightly forward, steady eye contact, and slow, controlled breathing. Avoid fidgeting, crossing arms, or looking away, which signal insecurity. Calm dominance through body language reinforces your verbal tactics and makes you appear unshakable. Example: during a heated business negotiation, a counterpart tries to intimidate you with aggressive comments. You respond with a slow, deliberate nod, maintain eye contact, and keep your hands relaxed on the table. This nonverbal confidence often unsettles aggressive opponents and forces them to reconsider their approach. Putting it all together, a role-play scenario. Picture this. You're at a networking event and someone says, "I heard your last deal fell through because you're unreliable." Instead of reacting defensively, you pause for a moment, then ask, "Where did you hear that?" When they hesitate, you calmly say, "I'm always open to feedback, but I prefer to focus on facts." Your body language is relaxed but confident, and you maintain steady eye contact. The attacker, caught off guard, loses momentum, and the conversation shifts away from the attack. Mastering these tactics takes practice, but once you internalize them, you'll find that attacks no longer rattle you. Instead, they become opportunities to demonstrate control, intelligence, and power. Remember, the goal isn't to win every argument, but to never lose your position of strength. To truly grasp the power of never defending yourself. It helps to look at how masters of influence have used this principle to their advantage. These figures, whether in politics, business, or social leadership, understand that reacting defensively only hands over control. Instead, they wield silence, reframing, and calm dominance to flip criticism into opportunity and maintain their authority. Former U.S. President Barack Obama, for example. Throughout his presidency, Obama faced relentless criticism from opponents and the media. Yet, he rarely responded with defensive outbursts. Instead, he often employed strategic silence or reframed attacks to highlight his vision and values. When confronted with harsh accusations, he would pause, choose his words carefully, and redirect the conversation toward hope and progress. This approach not only preserved his image as a composed leader, but also frustrated critics who expected emotional reactions. His calm, measured responses projected strength and control, reinforcing his authority on the world stage. In the corporate world, consider Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft. When Microsoft faced public scrutiny over its slow innovation compared to competitors, Nadella didn't rush to defend the company's past failures. Instead, he acknowledged the challenges without defensiveness and shifted the narrative toward Microsoft's future potential and strategic transformation. By focusing on growth and vision rather than excuses, Nadella regained investor confidence and revitalized the company's image. His refusal to engage in defensive blame games demonstrated maturity and control, key traits that inspired trust and respect. Social influencers and public figures also use this tactic effectively. Oprah Winfrey, for instance, has faced criticism and controversy throughout her career. Rather than defending herself aggressively, Oprah often responds with grace and subtle reframing. When attacked, she acknowledges the criticism without conceding defeat, then pivots to her core message of empowerment and positivity. This approach disarms critics and keeps the focus on her strengths, allowing her to maintain her influence and respect. Even in everyday social dynamics, this principle plays out. Imagine a charismatic community leader who is unfairly accused of favoritism. Instead of launching into a defensive explanation, they calmly acknowledge the concern and ask, "Can you share what led you to that conclusion?" This question flips the power back to the accuser, forcing them to justify their claim. The leader's calm demeanor and refusal to defend immediately often diffuse tension and preserve their standing. These examples show a clear pattern. The most influential people don't waste energy defending themselves. They understand that power lies in controlling the narrative, not reacting to it. By mastering silence, reframing, and calm dominance, they turn attacks into opportunities to reinforce their authority and command respect. If you want to rise to their level, you must adopt this mindset and these tactics. The ability to stay unshaken in the face of criticism is what separates leaders from followers, winners from losers. And it all starts with the simple but powerful decision to never defend yourself. Even with the best intentions, many men fall into common traps when trying to master the art of not defending themselves. These mistakes can undermine your power and make you appear weak or indecisive. Recognizing and avoiding them is crucial to maintaining control in any interaction. 1. Reacting emotionally and losing control. The most frequent error is letting emotions take over. When attacked, anger, frustration, or embarrassment can trigger impulsive responses, snapping back, raising your voice, or making excuses. This emotional reaction signals vulnerability and hands power to your opponent. To avoid this, practice emotional self-awareness. When you feel triggered, take a deep breath and remind yourself that your goal is control, not immediate vindication. 2. Over-explaining or justifying unnecessarily. Another pitfall is the urge to explain every detail or justify your actions at length. Over-explaining often sounds defensive and desperate, which weakens your position. Instead, keep your responses concise and deliberate. If you must respond, use the non-defensive acknowledgement or strategic question to shift the focus. Remember, less is more. 3. Misreading the situation and staying silent when action is needed. While silence is powerful, it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. Sometimes, staying silent can be mistaken for weakness or agreement, especially if the attack is a serious accusation or misinformation that could damage your reputation. The key is to assess the context carefully. If silence risks harm, use reframing or a calm, controlled response to regain control without appearing defensive. Quick tips to course correct. Pause before responding to check your emotional state. Practice concise, strategic replies rather than long explanations. Evaluate the situation, when silence serves you, and when a subtle response is necessary. Use body language to reinforce calm confidence. Even if you choose to stay silent, reflect on past interactions to identify moments you defended unnecessarily and plan better responses. Mastering these nuances will keep you from falling into common traps and ensure your power remains intact. No matter the challenge, mastering the art of never defending yourself isn't just about knowing the tactics. It's about cultivating a mindset of calm, control, and confidence that becomes second nature. This requires daily practice and intentional mental conditioning. Here are practical exercises and mindset shifts to help you internalize this powerful strategy. 1. Daily meditation or breathing exercises. Start each day with a simple meditation or breathing routine designed to build calm under pressure. Even 5 minutes of focused breathing. Inhale deeply for 4 seconds. Hold for 4. Exhale for 4. Can lower stress and increase your ability to stay composed during conflict. Over time, this practice trains your nervous system to remain steady when faced with attacks or criticism, making it easier to pause instead of reacting impulsively. 2. Mental rehearsals of the pause and pivot technique. Visualization is a powerful tool. Spend a few minutes daily mentally rehearsing scenarios where you're attacked or criticized. Picture yourself pausing silently, maintaining calm body language, and then pivoting the conversation with a strategic question or redirection. Imagine the attacker's confusion and your regained control. This mental practice builds neural pathways that prepare you to respond with confidence in real life. 3. Journaling. Prompts to reflect and plan. Use journaling to deepen your self-awareness and track your progress. Reflect on recent situations where you felt defensive or lost control. Ask yourself, what triggered my reaction? How could I have used silence or reframing instead? Then, write down specific responses you could try next time. This reflection helps you identify patterns and develop personalized strategies, turning past mistakes into future strengths. Consistency is key. The difference between knowing these tactics and mastering them lies in consistent practice. Make these exercises part of your daily routine. Over weeks and months, you'll notice a shift, not just in how you respond to attacks, but in how others perceive you. You'll radiate calm dominance, making it clear that you're not someone to be rattled or manipulated. Remember, power isn't about aggression or loud defense. It's about quiet control, strategic patience, and the confidence to let others reveal their weaknesses while you maintain your strength. Commit to these daily practices, and you'll build an unshakable mindset that turns every challenge into an opportunity to dominate. Defending yourself is the ultimate power trap. Every time you rush to justify, explain, or argue, you hand control over to your opponent and reveal vulnerability. But mastering the art of strategic silence and reframing flips the script instantly. It transforms attacks into opportunities to assert dominance, unsettle your challengers, and command respect without uttering a defensive word. Now, the challenge is simple. The next time you face criticism or conflict, don't react the way most people do. Instead, pause, breathe. Use the Machiavellian trick of silence or a subtle question to regain control. Watch how the dynamic shifts, how power flows back to you. This isn't just theory. It's a practical skill that separates leaders from followers, winners from the rest. Every defensive reaction you resist is a chance to build unshakable confidence and social mastery. So start today. Stop defending, start dominating. Don't let another moment slip by where you lose respect because you reacted impulsively. Own your power by mastering silence and strategic reframing. The difference it makes will be immediate and profound. Your next move determines your status. Make it count.